gotta I gotta bounce to. All right, so
Here we go. Recording in
okay.
progress. All right, Cole, did you find a common theme
Good
for us
good morning, morning.
with
Well,
our
we
Ask
gotta
Chat GPT?
yes, I got a good one on. We got a good one on motivation here, but we're gonna start off with a light question
All right.
to get us kicked off here and get this conversation rolling. I got two funny ones, and I think these will both be good for you guys because y'all are both personally sober. But the first one is when you got sober, what was your guilty pleasure that replaced your old habits? So obviously your old habits were smoking crack, drinking, growing weed, whatever. What guilty pleasure replaced the old habits? Was it snacks,
Lucas
scented candles,
Lucas's was
night?
socks. He really likes
Oh,
shopping for socks.
For socks? What are you talking about?
Big Bombas guy, dude.
I was not a Bombas guy. You were a Bombas guy. I think I only have one pair of Bombas, and they were a Christmas gift, like last year. You are a liar, dude. Mine are related though, and it was and could debatably could still be shoes. I had like a period when I first got sober that I collected Clark Wallabies and Timberland boots, and then
wallabies? You're
Ultra,
collecting wallabies?
yeah, Ultra Boost, and then Yeezys.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Where have the old shoes gone? Because it's easy now. Where have all the wallabies gone? I did not know wallabies were one. I did not know Timberlands. You said were the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they now?
I still have some of the Timberlands, and I still have one pair of the Wallabies, some beeswax soled black ones. They were like my favorite, but I mean, really had probably like 8 to 10 like different colors. I think I sold them all to a guy on like Facebook Sell and Swap in the Lowe's parking lot.
Dude, I had a couple pair too. And I remember us thinking that those were the most comfortable things to ever hit this earth.
Mhm.
When realistically, they're pretty like heavy, clunky shoes. They do have a soft sole, but
They do. I feel
they're
like it's easy to roll your ankle on those shoes.
absolutely. That's an accident waiting to happen.
They're basically soft clogs.
Yeah.
Why those shoes, Lucas? Can you elaborate on that? Why those shoes?
Probably like some like friends around me. Like I remember one of my recovery coaches, Zach, he wore them and was like, "Oh, these are like cool shoes, whatever." And I tried a pair and I liked them. And then just like that addict part of my brain that needed to get filled was like, well, now I want them in every color, and I'm gonna like look them up online and see which stores sell different colors and collect them.
Hmm. Yeah, hitting that dopamine and that chasing, like,
Mhm.
and got to get more. And you would say arguably is still even today with Yeezys.
No, I haven't bought a pair of shoes in, I want to say at least a year, if not coming up on like 2 years. So at some point I realized like I probably have enough shoes for the rest of my life, and I don't think that I really need any more shoes. But yeah,
Mhm.
Cole Haans were in there too
Oh,
for a
yeah.
while. Where like, and I have plenty of Cole Haans, plenty of Yeezys, plenty of Ultra Boosts. I don't think I need any more shoes for the rest of my life, and I think I'm done.
I went through a little phase of this with Lucas, not as hardcore as he went with it.
Yeah.
But then I got to a point later where I just realized, like, hey, I've got a pair of shoes that I really like, and I just want to keep ordering the same pair of shoes over and over again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
One of,
not
one of my one of my buddies' dad did that. He loved the Adidas. Were they the Sam Smith that would have like they were white with a little bit of green on the back? I think. But anyway, they had like a version of those come out in the '90s, and he bought I think like 20 pair, And he was like, I'm only wearing these shoes the rest of my life. But it was a super sad day when he got to his like last pair. And he was like, pulled him out of the box and stuff. And he put his foot in, and then the sole just came off because all the glue had like deteriorated. And they like didn't make those particular shoes. I don't think they were Sam Smith. There must be another one. They didn't make them anymore. And he was just like so sad because he was on his last pair.
Ouch.
Are you still on that kick of like buying the same shoe over and over, David?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I have some on clouds that I like, and if I start to wear them out or get them dirty, I just buy that same pair again.
Oh, are you wearing them right now?
No, I am not wearing shoes right now.
Oh.
I'm interview styling it. I've got
Are you wearing pants at least?
I am wearing their workout shorts, but I am wearing and then socks. But
okay.
So I think my guilty pleasure in the very beginning was Reese cups. Reese cups and cigarettes. And I can remember, I want to talk about cigarettes first because I hear a lot of parents have this conversation with their loved one, especially if they're younger, because now the age is 21 to smoke legally. So I hear this conversation with like 18 and 19-year-olds a lot where the parents get hung up on, oh, you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes either. Where back then I told my mentor at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to quit everything. Now that I'm already stopping drinking and drugs, I'm going to stop smoking too. And he was actually like, maybe don't do that. Like maybe hold on to the nicotine for right now. Like let's get you through the hard stuff. And we'll come back to the nicotine. We'll address that a little later. But if you need that to fill the hole that's in your soul right now, like do that. So I took his advice, and I stuck with nicotine for a few more years after that, after dropping drugs and alcohol. But I eventually did address it later. And I do believe that was some good advice for me in the moment. And then Reese cups, close second. I crushed party-sized bags of Reese cups.
They're so good.
Put them in the freezer, dude.
That's
my nightcap.
Getting that sugar.
Oh yeah. And
we were talking about the cigarettes in group Friday. We were actually talking about this topic. And I made a point to the guys because one of them was expressing that kind of the same concern that you've heard from parents. Like, well, I've just like switched addictions. And I made a point to him that I've seen a lot of people that, yeah, they do switch it and get way more into nicotine, but that seems to have a shorter shelf life. Because I've seen a lot of people like voluntarily, once they like hit a year or two sober, like voluntarily like stop smoking. And I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I'd rather them smoke like nicotine than even weed, but especially like harder stuff too,
Yeah. I mean, I think that just like they say, a body in motion stays in motion. I think that a body like the starting down a healthier path continues down that path.
Mm-hmm.
So like past Reese cups and nicotine, one of the other things I got into was, and we were just talking about this before we pressed record, was working out and lifting weights. I got really big into that. And I think that just like snowball effects into the next thing, the next trend of like eating healthier, doing more cardio, just slowly adding things into my life that are better for me.
Yeah. Do you, but even though it's interesting, we were talking about the working out, like it would hit like a point of diminishing returns in which you were getting injured, pushing yourself too hard. Like, I guess the question, yeah,
we could
throw the question from both. Sure, yeah, that's yours. You can say it. But like, does it like is there always like a fixation? Is there always like something that you're kind of like a habit, if you will, that you're chasing with that same type of relentlessness?
I think there is for me, and I may have a touch more ADHD than the next guy. So yeah. Heavy of weights. I'm taking steroids, which are not good on my body. Um, yeah. And I still do it to this day with like certain workouts or runs. It's like, oh, my knees are starting to hurt and I'm 3 miles in, but like I could push it another mile. Like I need to get one more mile in.
Mhm.
I constantly do stuff like that. It's in my nature.
Mhm. Yeah. But you, Lucas?
Same. No, I do the same thing. I always have something that I'm fixated on, obsessed with, chasing. Sometimes it's really goofy. Sometimes it's like helpful and constructive. Sometimes it's healthy. Sometimes it's unhealthy. But I will say, as I've stayed sober longer, I feel like it averages and tilts more and more healthy as time goes on, and even in the way that I like pursue it, not to the exclusion of other good things in my life.
What's your okay, so we'll all three do this one. Like what's your current fixation?
Lucas?
Yeah, it is. You want me to go first? I can go first.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. You go.
I am too.
My current one that I think I'm like 3 days sober from is Catan. Been very into Catan and playing like a lot on my phone. And it's all relative. Like I don't identify as like an alcoholic or addict, but it certainly has been like constantly playing on a daily basis, thinking about it, like watching YouTube videos on like Catan strategies and playing on the app a lot. But then over the weekend, I got a new device called a brick, which helps like put blocks on certain apps, and it's like on our fridge. So for me to unlock, like I put a block on Catan, my social media, YouTube, even like some of these things where time sucks for me because I want to be reading more or paying attention to the world around me, like my family, my home, things like that. So I've got a block on it, and the only way I can unlock it is I have to like go to the device, the little brick that's on the fridge, and like tap my phone to it to unlock it. So I haven't played Catan like since like Friday, I think. But that's certainly been my like pretty goofy fixation that I've been on.
Interesting. A quick
Mhm.
note there. Have you seen the app that you have to put your phone on the ground and do push-ups? And for every push-up, you unlock minutes that you can spend on like social media, and you pick which apps go
How do
toward.
they know? How does the app know you're doing the push-ups?
You have to have, like, it has a camera function and it can tell if you're going all the way down and all the way up. I actually
What?
haven't tried it. I don't know how accurate, but I've seen it. It's a thing where you like,
Actually, I just made that part up, but it's probably something like that.
actually, it's not even an app. You know, I'm thinking about creating it this afternoon.
Yeah.
God. But talk about like putting that'd be so rough for people who are like have to have it, and they're just like hurting their chest, like obsessively doing push-ups. Because like I gotta get more minutes on my social media, my TikTok or whatever.
I like it.
Oh Lord.
I like it.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, what do you guys got for your current fixations?
my current fixation has been like AI stuff, playing around between like app building AI softwares to Chat GPT to GitHub to playing around with that kind of stuff.
I don't even understand half the words you just said.
And working out. Yeah.
So just goofing around with chat with like AI and like just coming up with ideas of different things.
Yeah. I'm like
Yeah.
trying to build like 3 different apps right now, playing with those
Oh my
apps.
God.
Yeah.
I would say for you, David, it's like serial like entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? Like and it's just different like mechanisms and modes in which you like try to express your like creativity and like, trying to find like success.
Yeah. I think that I have to build things, and it's interesting because it comes out in different ways, even from like the conference table or the tables that are in the office that I built. Like that's just like something that's inside of me that I have to get out in some way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I do the same thing with yard work. Like I love getting in my yard and making it like a certain way. Like I have like I feel like my hands are still like I would like spent the whole weekend like mulching everything with like black mulch. It's like I still have like remnants of that on my hands right now. But I it brings me a sense of peace because I feel like I can control this. How short the grass is, are there weeds or not, what it looks like. And then there's less anxiety when I'm able to control that, or I find a sense of like not only gratitude and like dopamine of like after the process of looking back at a finished job, but then I feel like just like see tangible change happening, and plus I like being outside. So
Yeah. It's all good stuff.
Lucas, what do you got? Let's hear yours, Lucas.
Unfortunately, mine are like, I'd like to say they shift day by day, but they probably shift hour by hour. So like today so far has been like a lot of like vehicle purchase stuff. Like what are like the best cars that like last the longest as far as like older vehicles, newer trucks, all kind of stuff around that. And like I'm playing a video game that I'm like kind of fixated on, The Last of Us Part 1. Shout out The Last of Us Season 2.
Are you liking it, by the way?
Are you watching it?
Yeah.
Okay, real quick on the Last of Us thing. As a video game player who knows like how the story goes, how do you think season 2 has been so far? And keep in mind, I've not watched this week's episodes. No spoilers. If anybody's getting spoiled from Last of Us from watching this, like I don't know what to tell you. But how do you feel like this season has been so far?
I think it's been fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I've liked it too. Thought it'd be good.
Yeah. I play a game called Bloons Tower Defense 6 on my phone. That's probably been for like the past 4 months. I've been like really into like credit card stuff, like building my credit score, earning like maximum points on different cards, and just like charting and kind of chasing all that type of stuff. And then like thinking, kind of dreaming about like trips that I could go on using those points and like the best, most efficient way to get the most out of it. That's been one. A lot of like financial stuff around just like investments and like paying off my car as quick as I can and how I can do that and where I can cut, budgeting stuff. So some of those are like immediate things like this morning, and then some of those are more like the past year, past 3 months, 6 months. But I always have probably anywhere from 5 to 10, and then any day I'm going to layer on 3 or 4 more like finite fixed ones that I'll go down a rabbit hole for an hour or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if David is like, if the theme of his is entrepreneurship, like I think your theme is just research. Like you love some research and finding out more stuff and learning things.
I just love learning. It was funny. I was talking to my wife over the weekend. We were driving somewhere, and she was like, "Oh, we're talking about someone in her family that's going to have to get like this bag that like gives you like nutrition in it because the person can't eat." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I saw this. I heard about this woman that like she had to have that bag." And the crazy thing is that she's like a 5-star chef. So she makes like really, really good, delicious food, but she has some condition where she can't like really eat food, or it like just kind of tears her body up. So she has to have that. And she's like, "Why do you know that? How do you know about that? Where did you see that? Why do you know that that's a thing?" It's like, "Oh, you sound upset about it." I think it's cool. I like it. I thought it was really interesting. That's why I watched a 30-minute video about this woman's life.
Yeah, your YouTube search history is wild. Very, very interesting.
So
okay, let's go to our next question. We had one, I think, who had this question? David, you have this one about the internal external motivation?
Oh yeah. So it says, let me find it. What's one strategy that you found most effective in helping young adults, and I put in the like ages 17 to 26, shift from external motivation, like pressure from family or the court system, to developing internal motivation for lasting recovery?
What's one strategy?
One strategy that you found most effective in helping those young adults from shifting from external motivation to internal motivation. I feel like I can answer this because it's something that I harp on all the time. And I say,
Why don't you go first? Yeah, you go first.
So I say it's a strategy of like building their self-esteem. And I think most of the young guys that come like to our program, they come in with very low self-esteem. And when they start to build that up and experience some wins, you start to see some more internal life. Things are starting to shift for me in a positive light.
Question on that.
Yeah.
So your strategy is like building up their self-esteem, right? What would you say, like within that, like what is a strategy within the strategy? If that is like the overall like mission plan, or the theme, like what is like, can you think of like one way to?
Yeah, I could think of a lot. And we'll start off with the small ones. That's at least like the starting point is like having some chores, making your bed in the morning. And that's such a small but such a powerful thing of like making your bed in the morning once you get out of it and being able to come back to that later in the evening to that made bed of like, if nothing else, hey, that's one accomplishment that I did for the day. And two, you have to think a lot of people coming out of like pretty bad active addiction, they're not making their beds. They're not picking up trash. They got like Twinkie wrappers all around their room, or, it just gets gross. I mean, speaking from experience, life gets kind of gross where you're not like cleaning your bathroom on a regular basis. You're not sweeping and mopping your floors. Like that's the last thing you care about. So I think starting with the smaller things like that to just ease into some wins to then getting some bigger things like helping them find a job or helping them get back into school. And hopefully, they're starting to pass some classes and experience wins there or meet some cool people in school or get their first paycheck and save that or figure out how to manage that. Those would be examples of some of the bigger wins and the strategy to get them there.
Man, Lucas, David cheating on this question. He's rolling out like 35 strategies. It's almost like he's been doing this for a decade. I don't know. He's just popping them out. You guys
like all encompassing. I don't know if that was fair.
I know.
David, sucking up all the strategies.
Taking all the strategies. Lucas, do you want to go? You have one? That's really good, David. I agree with everything you just said, though. Which you know that. What do you think, Lucas?
Yeah, I agree with everything David said. And I guess the first thing that popped in my head, and so it's got a lot of overlap with David's, but it's just like the combination of time and doing the work. Like, I don't know that I can, like, I think time is one of the biggest strategies that I'm dependent on when helping a young guy build self-esteem or shift motivation, because it's just not something that, as much as I would like it to be, it's not something that's going to happen from one conversation that I have with him or one good day or just saying just the right thing at just the right time. It's going to take time of like repeated efforts, whether that's the stuff that David was talking about of, making the bed, whatever. But I think the first things I thought about was a lot more like, trying to think of the word, like self-reflection, kind of like that internal work, like when looking for internal motivation. So like, what is my purpose? Why do I do the things that I do? Where can I be better when it comes to like selfishness or laziness or things like that. How do my actions affect others? What kind of person would I like to be? I think like those types of questions and starting to do that kind of work. And obviously that's going to shift day to day over the course of like someone's first year sober. But I think those are the things that I thought about. So I'd say like the biggest strategy would be time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This is like a really like tough question to answer, to narrow it down to just one strategy, because I think we're all answering from the standpoint of like thematically, like how we look at it, which we all three obviously look at in a very similar way, given that we do this work together. So, I mean, I can throw like another theme or two out, the idea of like helping somebody shift from the pursuit of dopamine to more, which is going to be more like instant gratification, to more of like the pursuit of like serotonin and oxytocin, which is going to be more of like the satisfaction of a job well done or doing the best you could, along with like the connection you get like in doing like with other people. It also brings to mind to me of like just trying to remind people constantly that they can do hard things. And I think like for me as a therapist, that's something that I have to have conversations with our guys a lot, because when you're talking about addiction, the brain is like very slowly healing, and it is healing, it is changing. But as the recovery knowledge expands, the reasons for why like I should not stay sober get sneakier and sneakier. And what I see with a lot of our guys is they're in this like structured environment, and they're getting these wins of like maybe it's work or going back to school, or they're picking up chips in meetings. But in the back of their mind, there's this voice that says, I'm just doing this because of GT. I'm just doing this because Lucas told me to. I'm just doing this because my parents wanted me to do this. And they're really minimizing their own efforts in that. So I would say like the number one strategy that I use is surmised by the statement that's a great book by Glennon Doyle, but you can do hard things. You can do hard things. And I really like try to emphasize that you part of it, because guys will in early recovery, they'll really minimize their own efforts. I'm just doing this because of court. I'm just doing this because of my parents. I'm just doing this because my sober living makes me do it. I'm just doing this because my sponsor told me to do it. And I just want to make the point, like, you are still the one who's doing it. Like, take credit for that. And I think when you're able to take credit for that, that is where your self-esteem is like slowly building bit by bit, because you're realizing, okay, I'm not just going to instant gratification. I am the one doing the hard things. So I would say it's like kind of, for me, the theme is like, you can do hard things. So if we're going to go do a hard workout, you're not doing it just because I asked you to do it. You're doing it because you did it, right? You chose to do it. You're showing up and going to work today, not because you had to go to work. You chose to go to work today. So helping people recognize that autonomy that still exists within structure. So probably that was a long kind of rambling answer too, but I think we're all kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you have another question? Wasn't there something
a goofy one?
I thought it was something like what? Did I make that up?
I had a couple other goofy ones. Did you think it was like more of a serious one, David?
No, I want to say it was a goofy one. Well, it made me think of another question, or one that I wanted to ask Lucas.
It was something about like, what's like the goofiest like lie you've ever told that you thought people would buy, and then another one was like, what's something that you thought was really genius that you did in addiction that you kind of laugh at now. I think was or two that I heard.
Yeah,
let's do that. I have one that just popped in my head right away.
Okay, so that question was the genius one. You're talking about that one, David?
I don't know. What does that say?
All right. So, what is something you used to do while high that you realize now is absolutely not normal, but at the time it felt like pure genius?
I
Uh,
kind of have one for that. And it's like, I don't know that it was, they're making it sound like something you did like regularly, but I always think back to I was dating someone and I was on all kind of substances at the time. And as I dated her, she kind of like whittled me down and was like, all right, like I want you to stop doing like pills. And so I stopped doing that. And then it was stop doing this and I stopped doing that. And eventually it got down to like pot and alcohol. And I think she was like, I think we should stop drinking. And so we did that. So I'm just smoking pot. And like this is getting harder and harder for me as it goes on. And I'm having to do a lot more of whatever's left to like make up for all the stuff that I'm not doing now. And I remember vividly that she was like, you know what? Now that we're down to just pot, I think we should both stop smoking pot. And being like, oh no, there's like no way I'm gonna be able to do this, nor do I want to. And I seriously, like, my genius idea was that, and I am not joking, like I thought that this was like really smart. This is a well thought out plan, that this was going to be the solution, is that I would go back to doing heroin, but only on Fridays. And I would just do it once a week on Friday when I got paid, one time. And that would carry me through the week of like, and so she wouldn't know. And so she would see me sober all throughout the rest of the week, and it would be great. But it'd give me that thing to look forward to on Fridays, and that I would just do heroin one time every Friday.
And that strategy worked really well.
And that strategy panned out excellent. No, I think it was like the first week I did it Friday. The second week I did it Friday and Saturday morning. The third week I did it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think was like sick on Monday and had to call out of work because of it. And I want to say within 30 days, I had overdosed in front of my parents' house and went to, was lucky to survive. And yeah, woke up in the back of an ambulance, went to a hospital, and walked home from that hospital in a like a hospital gown with my rear side showing down the crosstown downtown Charleston while my mom was trying to get me to get back in the car.
that's what I'm talking about.
You know why?
You didn't even have.
I
You
was
didn't have underwear on.
I was so upset because they wouldn't give me opiates at the hospital when I had just gone there for an opiate overdose.
And you were like, "I'm out of here."
Yeah. I mean, just so delusional. But that's like one of my things that I think about when that kind of question pops up, of like something that I thought was really, really smart at the time and was going to be like my solution. It quickly didn't.
Mm-hmm. Good Lord. So glad you're sober, Lucas. What a mess.
Me too.
What a mess.
I don't know what I heard, but when I heard you like rattling off those questions, I heard like what was one like crazy thing that you got out of when you were getting high. So I'm going to continue my story with that because I have
Answer that question then.
So this is nuts, but I went through this phase where I was getting drugs mailed to me. And I guess it kind of pairs with both because I thought this was like the most genius idea to continue getting high. I was like, I'm not going to go to the drug dealer anymore. I'm not going to ride around with drugs. I'll have other people bring the drugs to me. What better way to do that than the services out there, the postal services? So I went through this phase where I'm just like ordering all of my stuff. Well, one day I order like a pretty large parcel, like a few pounds of marijuana is what I'm ordering to me, and it's being shipped, but it's a day late. It didn't show up on the date that it was supposed to. Dude, I call the service that was supposed to deliver this package, and I'm not kidding. When whoever I get on the phone and ask, what's going on with the package, and I'm also not going to put the agency on blast, but the person told me, they said like, "Sir, I'm sorry, but your package has been confiscated by law enforcement." So I was like, "Ooh," hang up the phone immediately. Don't say another word to that person. And sure enough, it was a couple of days later, they show up at my house with the package, but it's like a plain white delivery truck. It doesn't have a logo on it. The driver's wearing a plain polo, doesn't have a logo on the polo. And the person sending me stuff, he was like, hey, if they want to arrest you on the spot, they're always going to ask you to sign for the package, but I'm never going to send you a package that requires a signature. So the first thing the delivery driver asks me when he comes to the door with the package is he says, hey, are you David? Yeah. Oh, I have this package. I need you to sign for it. And I just said, sir, that is not my package. And if it has my name on it, somebody's messing with me. And I just shut the door in his face. Didn't say another word. And he knocked. I think eventually what happened is they dropped that package off. I don't think that agency wanted to like stay in town and deal with it. I'm probably a pretty small person to them. So I think they dropped it off with the local like sheriff or police department in that town for them to deal with. So then I get a call from them to come to the office. They needed to talk to me about something, which I never went.
No, thank you. I don't know.
Actually, I prefer not to. Yeah.
Dude, what if David puts this video on YouTube and then like within a week he's gone? We're like, where'd David go? He's just been like taken into like we've been trying. This is the cold case we've been trying to solve for 10, 15 years.
He admitted it on air.
Yeah.
It was his package and he knew it.
Come and get me, guys. Sorry.
Oh no. Oh, that's funny.
That was one of my craziest stories of something that I got away with.
Yeah. And that was one thing that is scary about some of the stories I've heard of your using, David, is you were very like thought out with those things, like and trying to like make money off of it or grow stuff, like very, very thought out with your using and everything. Lucas's stories, I feel like always have a bit more of like a recklessness to them, you know, which is also scary too.
No, I think Lucas was very, I don't know. I think he was very creative in ways that, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to make money, right? To afford the habit. So we can continue to get high and get our fix. I would say we both got pretty creative in figuring out how to get our fix.
I think there's just like a resourcefulness. And I remember that there was like a guy that I used to use with, and I remember he said that to me one time. He was like, and I think it may have even been that he was like, I don't know that you're creative. I don't know that you're that smart, but you are really, really, really resourceful when it comes to like connecting to people so that you can get your little cut of it or buying something here, selling it there. Like just always having some little angle to like basically get by like more days than not and use and drink all day without getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know why he had to do those other things before saying I was resourceful.
You were resourceful, Lucas. Lucas, you were good at doing drugs. You were good at doing drugs, Lucas. There you go. How'd that sound?
No, I really was not. And I was over at our Step Up house on Saturday watching UFC, and I ended up there until 4 a.m. was when I left.
Did fights go on that long?
No, they were over at like 1-ish maybe, but then just talking with the guys, and we were just all talking about times back in the day and schemes and all kind of stuff like that, and bringing it full circle to how it's way better today. As much as I can look back on that and have some like weird sixth sense of like pride of like, oh yeah, like I came up with this idea and came up with that idea. I'm glad that I don't have to come up with those types of ideas today, and that I can, like, life is just so much simpler.
Yeah. I was, this might not make sense at all, but I certainly made it make sense in my head. And it's a really popular quote. It's a Jeff Bezos said it. And I think he was talking more about like entrepreneurship, but he says, I think it's generally human nature to overestimate risk and underestimate opportunity. And I think that's what a lot of us do. Like entering into recovery. Like it's such a scary thing because we're overestimating the risk of like what's it going to be like without this fix, without this thing that's helping us throughout our days and getting us by, but we're underestimating the opportunity on the other side of what you're just talking about, of like just hanging out until 4 a.m. with a bunch of sober guys talking about how much better life is today and how much opportunity you have today within your relationships and your families and your job. It was well worth the risk to give up that old lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You're interesting. All right, boys. I need to jump off. I gotta get on my next call.
Okay.